You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. College Game Day makes its return. I mean, Stanford Steve will be in the house. Good enough to join us now. How are you, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you been?
Doing awesome, man. It's good to hear your voice. Good to have you guys back in Baton Rouge. When was the last time you were here?
You know, I'm in the equipment room right now, headed out to practice, and I was just going through it with Lewis. I couldn't go in 19, but I went to the Ole Miss game in 19, and that obviously was in Oxford. I think it's the 16 Bama game.
Oh, my God.
That's how long it's been for me.
Bro, that was...
Because, like, the end zone suites had just gotten done. Yeah, and then I was going through the box scores. Like, I think I did 9 straight from Nick's first game back here. That was 08. To 16. I was at every Alabama LSU game, no matter where it was. And I do remember last year you gave me the business for picking Alabama.
I gave you the business?
Right. Yeah, you guys were giving it to me. I did the pick segment with you guys.
You were? Yeah, that's right. Well, we were trying to decide if you were our guest picker last year or 2 years ago. I couldn't remember.
No, last year.
Well,
sure.
you know, Steve, had I known that Dallas Turner was going to be dirty as hell and completely target Jaden Daniels and obliterate him, I should have known because Nick was good to do that from time to time. Sick his dogs on people. I mean, suffice to say, Steve, the game fundamentally changed when Jaden Daniels left. Hey,
no doubt.
This will be also your first time seeing a live Tiger in Tiger
Stadium.
Yeah,
I heard.
I want some outside perspective. Omar the Tiger, Mike's stunt doubles coming in. What do you think about this?
Well, I am just very happy because my daughters are diehard LSU fans.
Yeah!
And they have the Mike the Tiger camera on their iPad, so they check in on Mike all the time. And I was just bracing how I was going to tell them if they went on the iPads and Mike wasn't in his home and he was in the stadium, but now that we have the stunt double, we'll be all right on that end. I mean, you hear stories about it, Matt, all like, from years past before, I was ever even able to go here. I've talked to the guys that have played here as opposing teams and just be so weirded out about the whole idea and then seeing it. Talking to Nick, this week, he talked about it. It didn't have to do with the Tiger, but just the idea of whatever you guys are imagining Tiger Stadium is going to be, it's going to be 100% worse than your thoughts. So he did talk about his return trip. I'm sure we'll get that in on the show Saturday, but just the idea how they let the students in early. He did his lap around the field, and there was a couple adjectives chanted before his name. So it was. I was here for that. You felt it in the air, and it was something I'll never forget. And then to see what this has grown, these two teams playing has grown into, is something special, man. I really am fortunate to be at as many of these as I have, and we're set up for. I mean, you never thought you could up the stakes for the game until there's a national championship at stake. But this is basically, your postseason lives are at risk in this game, knowing that both teams already have 2 losses, and I can't wait to see it play out.
Hey, Steve, I'm glad you went to the Saban angle because we've obviously talked about that a lot this week. I'm curious your thoughts on that dynamic on Saturday with for the first time since 2007, Nick not being on the sideline for Alabama.
Yeah.
How much? I'm talking about the game itself. Like, how much does that impact what you think happened Saturday?
A lot. I do. There was a general, I think from outsiders, just talking to people and hearing how they talk about Alabama now with him not being there and him on the show, and just the idea of, I think some people still look at, the crimson helmet with the number on it, and there's an image and a perception, and I think some people, more and more now that we've seen them lose twice on the road, have taken back. Like they don't fear them. They don't take the mystique of Nick's teams there. And you've seen teams play like that. I mean, they played a schedule where I don't think they haven't played a team with a losing record. And for all the bad that is said about them, I thought they've responded pretty well in those circumstances. You go back to the Tennessee game. If you told me that Tennessee was going to score 24, I was going to say they would lose. I thought Alabama would score more. And, Milroe got caught in some instances there. They should have been up more points at halftime, and they weren't. And they set themselves up. But, no, I look at, I've followed Kalen DeBoer. I've known his story from going back to Indiana. I thought the world of him as a play caller. And it's a really fine line of taking that job. And I think you've seen frustration levels from the team and with some antics on the field and, to him personally, how he's handled certain situations. But, there's a change and people don't like change, but it came a time and they are where they are and he's in charge. So it's a monster test coming here Saturday for sure.
Stanford Steve's with us. You'll get him at Stanford Steve 82. He's at LSU, about to go out to the practice facility right now, watch the Tigers work out. What's been your impression of this LSU team so far through 8 games?
I think it's been an improvement. I mean, I was on the sidelines for the South Carolina game, and I really started wondering, it didn't look different from last year. And the whole offseason with getting Blake to come over as DC, I just used it can't be worse than it was last year. And then I'm watching that game, and Sellers is running, and Rocket Sanders is going up, and just it didn't look like not even assignments, but alignment. Like guys didn't look like they were aligned right, and you saw how that quarterback run gashed them. But you know what? They stayed in the fight, man. And being on the sidelines, seeing the offensive line, constantly come back and try and figure out a run game and then get the run game going. And that's the difference in that game. They got the run game going. It gave them some balance. It gave Nuss some time to throw when they needed it on third downs, but they found some balance amid total chaos. I mean, that game, I haven't seen a crazier game this year with the ebbs and flows and the momentum swings and the stoppages because of replay and penalties. But I thought I was really impressed with LSU because that was a remarkable job of just staying in the fight and getting a big win. And it kind of stinks because the outsiders don't look at it. You see 5-3 South Carolina now. I've called them. I'm trying to give them a compliment. They're the best 5-3 team in America.
I know. There's
no doubt in my mind. But to get that and build towards what they've been able to do, building up to the Ole Miss game and staying in that game, being down early, staying in it and overcoming and taking the lead on the final play of the game. And then you go to A&M. I've been at A&M. I think Elko is up there for Coach of the Year. I think what he's done in just handling the quarterback situation alone has been really, really impressive. And you're in it. You come out, you make some plays, you get the ball to your guys, and LSU makes plays, and then you lose assignments because it was so puzzling to me. People throw out, it looks like they didn't practice it. I'm like BS, man. Like they were great against Taylor Green the week before in the same kind of quarterback runs,
Yep.
And it was just very puzzling. But I thought that was just a case of momentum, and the momentum swing on Nuss's pick really energized it. And the idea of seeing that side, talking to people that were on the A&M sideline and seeing the juice when he made the move, I thought was really, really telling. And that's a place, man, that swoon comes. That's a hard place to win. When you get down double digits, it's just too much. The way A&M's run game was going that night. So, now you're off a bye. You got time to get ready. I went back and watched Milroe last year and talking to Nick about things they put in for that game. And, it's more designed. It's not really a traditional, ride and decide, which A&M is. This is more a constructed, whether it's quarterback counter or quarterback power. So it's a different approach, and LSU knows that. But you got to be on your P's and Q's as far as assignments. Whereas it can really get free against the way A&M does it. Now you got some construction. Where lead blockers are going and where they're coming from. So LSU has to be better in assignment football.
Stanford Steve. Hey, 2 more things before you go. One, Paul Skeens, Livy Dunn. Who are you more excited to meet?
I'm not a follower of either on Instagram. I will say I'm more familiar with Paul's work. I will say that.
All
okay?
right. Even like, so are you not a gymnastics fan?
I've tuned in a little bit. I mean, like I got the little dogs. Like they're super fired up.
Yeah, man. Natty
and
champs,
also,
man.
Yeah, and they're also they might murder me if I don't go to the LSU women's game tomorrow night. So I have to go to that. And so yeah, there'll be some FaceTimes going on there. But yeah, no, I've checked out the gymnastics. I've just seen a lot more. I mean, Skeens has been awesome going back to his days here and following him, to that championship, and then seeing what he did in baseball. I'm a baseball guy, so I'm definitely more familiar with Mr. Skeens.
Okay, better coach. We do this is rapid fire. Brian Kelly or Kalen DeBoer?
Brian Kelly.
Jalen Milroe or Garrett Nussmeier?
Nussmeier.
Oh, and where's the game played?
Tiger Stadium.
So better.
I'm calling it the Mecca.
Better.
I don't know if people, that's what it is to me.
Please go on about the Mecca. I would rather hear you talk about the Mecca.
It's the greatest place, and you know what's great is being at Penn State. I never was a fan of Penn State, and being there last week, it was really good to churn those fan bases, because I kept saying, this is Ohio State's second toughest atmosphere they'll play in, because they were at Austin for a night game last year, and you guys, are saving the whiteout for a night game, and they did not like that much. And then, they said, where do we compare? I said, well, Tiger Stadium's in its own tier, and you guys live it. And trying to explain to people. I actually have a couple buddies from Connecticut that just decided. I said, get down there. If you're going to go to one game, get down here for this. So I keep selling it, and it gets. I mean, you could really, really feel like talking to. I was over at Phil's for lunch, and the guy's talking about what that felt like, the Ole Miss game, and you could feel it resonate through the TV. And when you've been here, you know what it is. And Ole Miss has fought those ghosts for a long time here, but it really resonated through the television, and I cannot wait to see. I mean, Alabama has struggled in that Tennessee environment. You go back, Milrose with the snap count in crucial spots, didn't get the job done, and it's going to be a factor again. They have to handle things better than they did when they went to Neyland, and I think this place is that much better than Neyland. So the challenge is on the road team for sure. And as far as LSU goes, I will say, when you get this opportunity, you had it in College Station, you have to play well enough to win. That's the bottom line. And we'll see. We'll see. We know the people in the stands are going to bring it. Mm-hmm. Now the team's got to get that buttoned up approach and play great. And on a stage like this, it feels like it's been a while where these two teams, we've had it. Or LSU. I mean, LSU's been an underdog every year at home against Bama for, what is it now, 20 years?
Yeah, the last time they were favored was 2007.
Yeah, so there's plenty to play for here, and I cannot wait. There's not a better setting in the country.
So you got Brian Kelly, Garrett Nussmeier in a home game. I mean, Steve, who are you picking?
I got LSU.
Yeah, that's my guy. I tell you what.
And you touched on the things. I trust the idea of LSU in those situations. More than what I've seen Jalen Milroe do on the road. And that's where, LSU's got to do their thing. Would like to see, I think everybody would like to see a little more balance in the offense. But, quarterback taking care of the football is the highest priority. It's got to be the highest priority in talking to BK in years past and how he values, not giving the other team the ball. That's crucial. And when these two teams have lost this year, that's been the issue is multiple interceptions, and you can't do that when you know what you have at stake in this game.
He's got LSU, our guy, Stanford Steve. Y'all get him at Stanford Steve 82. I've always wanted to say this. Take us to break, Steve.
Coming up.
You're the best. Thanks, man. We'll see you.
You got it.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.